call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Eryk Anders takes on Christian Leroy Duncan this Saturday at UFC Fight Night. And this is a good fight. I think this is going to be a scrap on the feet. Eryk Anders, 38 years old, so getting up there in age, 6'1" with a 75-inch reach, and he's 17-8 in his UFC career, coming in off of a win over Chris Weidman by ground and pound. Don't really rate that win very well. Chris Weidman was having a lot of success in that fight before he just kind of gave up, in my opinion, and got TKO'd and retired. Beat Jamie Pickett before that, did get dropped in that fight. Not a great look. Jamie Pickett 13-10, now 13-11. Lost to Marc-Andre Barriault before that. Beat Kyle Dawkins, lost to Young Park, Andre Muniz. So just not the best resume, if I'm completely honest here. Beat Darren Stewart before that, 16-10. Darren Stewart lost to Krzysztof Jotko. Just doesn't have a lot of good wins. The guys that he are beating are guys that, in my opinion, shouldn't be in the UFC. Or 40-year-old Chris Weidman. Split decision over Gerald Meerschaert 6 years ago, which isn't bad, but just very 50-50 in the UFC, and I don't see any very impressive performance from Eryk Anders, let alone as of late when he's 38 years old, taking on Christian Leroy Duncan, who, very good striker, gonna be the bigger guy in this fight. I think he's gonna be the better striker, and he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. He's going to be 8 years younger, still in his prime. Looked really good in his last fight against Andre Pulyayev. Kind of got beaten up by Gregory Rodriguez, but Gregory Rodriguez is very high level. TKO wins over Claudio Ribeiro. Dennis Talulin lost to Armin Petrosian. I can excuse that, but I'm going to go Christian Leroy Duncan. I think he's better on the feet, more dynamic, better footwork. Going to be longer, faster, younger. I think he's going to be more explosive, more athletic. I think he's going to have to worry about Eryk Anders' takedowns. He does like to make it gritty, mix in his clinch work, mix in his takedowns. But Christian Leroy Duncan, 72% takedown defense. I trust his movement, his footwork to kind of stay safe, be popping Eryk Anders, and getting out of trouble, and not really letting himself get dragged into a clinch war or a wrestle fest, so to speak. And Eryk Anders, not the best chin. Getting up there in age. Been in a lot of fights, taken a lot of damage, been dropped in all 3 of his last fights, dropped by Chris Weidman, Jamie Pickett, and Marc-Andre Barriault. Was dropped 4 times by Khalil Roundtree back in the day, so can be hit, can be hurt, taking a lot of damage. I just don't trust that chin against Christian Leroy Duncan. I think he's going to put it on him quick, put a high pace on him, a lot of volume, get him backing up to where he can't shoot his takedowns. I think he gets Eryk Anders out of there by KO. Thanks.